Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Mary Stark Carter, and today I'm talking about a women's wellness subject that is very important to women of all stages of life, whether you're a young mom or not even a mom yet, all the way to
Thank you. You're welcome.
menopausal women. And I just ask that everyone make sure that they help their screens. There we go. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And our subject today is libido. And whether you're here for yourself or you're here for maybe a loved one, a husband, we're going to focus mostly on women's health today, but I'll give you some tips that are very helpful to our loved ones and our husbands too. All right, so let me get started just a little bit of the definition of libido. Libido is sexual desire or the mental energy or emotion related to sex. Now, it's not a subject that we're all super comfortable talking about, right? But it is a very important one. And I found early on in my career when I was seeing a lot of challenging cases, mostly women's wellness. I've been doing women's wellness for over 20 years. I saw a lot of women in their 40s, their 50s, and even their 60s who were really struggling in this area. But when we look at that definition, sexual desire, right, or mental energy or emotion related to sex, right? So it's not just a physiological thing, it's an emotional thing, right? It's a mental thing. And if I could, through the years that I have been helping women, I have found that there's different areas and probably you have multiple pieces of the puzzle to put together. One is energy, one is emotion, one is hormonal, one is our self-image, and also like the physicalness, like physical parts. And we'll talk each about those things. Okay, so if you would like to write me at maybe have me address something privately, down in the chat, there's a way that you can put it just to me. Okay, just to me. Okay, so we want to meaning instead of everyone, you can click and it can go directly to me. Okay, great. Yes, we want to talk about all these things. So I won't say your name, but I'll make sure that I'm covering all of these things. All right, well, let's start with our seasons of life, right? So the seasons of life that we have are maybe we're newly married and we're transitioning and we're new to this and it's just maybe unusual or our family didn't talk a lot about sex. Well, so we're just like learning and understanding. And there's a lot of learning, I think, in a married couple's life that happens like that. But one of the things that I'm finding with that early stage, those 20s, your early 30s, is that their hormones are so much more deficient than they were, say, 25 years ago, right? So about 25 years ago is when I really started in women's wellness. And what I'm seeing today in my 25, 28, young 30-year olds is what I used to see in my 50s and 60s year olds. So anybody want to take a guess of why that is happening? Why is our literally our hormones and why is there more sexual dysfunction, libido problems, right? Things in our food, our diet, absolutely. The food that we consume that's like a very much primary thing. Vaccinations, big pharma, medicines. Well, I'll give you an example too. I was in a friend of mine, she's in her early mid 20s, and I walked in her home. And the first thing I smell was chemical scented products, right? So we had candles, we had plug-ins, I could smell her laundry detergents, I could smell all of these chemicals, and she's having a lot of infertility issues too. So I could just smell all of these chemicals that are just being pounded in her and her husband's environment. Now, these things, doctors have noted these, they're called obesogens. So any of you who have issues with weight, we need to get these out of our house. The toxins in our environment right? The smells, the cleaning products, all of those things are causing hormone levels to go down. So number one thing we want to start, and we want to be teaching our children and our grandchildren, is that they need to eliminate these things altogether. And we'll give you some solutions at the end of this talk too, like, oh, how can I get rid of that? Second thing that the issue that we had too, is that she was so busy in this season of life. She was saying yes to everything. She was working. She was taking care of a young child. Her husband was very entrepreneurial. So she was saying yes to everything. And she had spread herself very thin. And I know some of my friends out there, you ever have that season of life where you spread yourself very thin? Because we get in this habit as women of not saying yes to ourselves, but saying yes to everyone else. And it becomes a habit. And it becomes a way of life, and we train our family. Okay, you hear me, friends? We train our family to expect us to perform at that level. And what happens is we start this cycle of deficiency in our bodies, deficiency of self-care, deficiency. When we go at that level, we have high levels of cortisol. Would you agree? Cortisol is that stress hormone. When that stress hormone starts down that path, anytime you start that stress hormone of your body and your nervous system just being on high functioning, you are going to rob yourself of sex hormones. Okay. So even if you give your body all the nutrients and all the building blocks up here, if you are in a high stress cycle from your lifestyle, from your job, from just the season of life, maybe you're a caregiver, anything like that, when you are in a high stress cycle, you will literally rob your sex hormones because all those building blocks will go towards the cortisol and the stress hormones instead of the sex hormones. Okay, so that's for all seasons of life. But it's becoming a real problem in the infertility in the younger years, the 30s, the 40s, 20s, 30s, 40s. We're seeing that. But it's the same thing in my 50s, 60s, 70-year-olds who haven't slowed down their life enough to be doing enough self-care that they can stop the cycle. Okay? All right. So we talked about toxins in our environment because our libido is directly, I guess I'm talking about hormones, right? So, and we could talk about hormones. I did a good hormone class, and I have more information about hormones that I could share in a whole 90-minute lecture. But understanding that piece, that hormones are going to be affected, our estrogen, our women have testosterone. We'll talk about that in a second. Estrogen, progesterone, right? Progesterone as well too. So hormones are very much affected by toxins. So I guess I could get a little bit technical. I know Holly likes the technical things, my co-host here. So if you think of our cells like this, right? So here's our cells, and they have these little receptors out here. And when we have food that has a lot of pesticides in it, when we have food that is like chemical laden because it just tastes really good, right? Whether it's the ice creams, the candies, the chips, the wine, the alcohol, even your favorite hummus is full of pesticides unless you're buying organic. So what happens, this little receptor starts to get clogged with these chemicals. So if this little cell was say, for example, was supposed to help your hormones, right? I'm just going to keep it real basic here. And it's clogged, that receptor is clogged, then it can't do its job. And it stays locked in that cell, or it even becomes dysfunctional. Okay, so cleaning up our diet, especially if you are trying to conceive, if you are going through perimenopause, and if you're postmenopause, cleaning up your diet is very, very good. Clean eating is really, really important. And again, we'll give you some solutions to the clean eating as well too. But there's something else that we can do to clean up not just our diet, but clean up those receptors. Anybody want to take a guess of what we could do to clean up those receptors? Maybe come off of mute. Okay, there's detox. Okay, yes. So we can detox the body a couple of different ways. We can detox the body. I love to use food grade essential oils, Vitality essential oils, Young Living essential oils. I love to use Young Living essential oils to support my body, but also to eliminate chemicals that I could put in my body. Oh, so it just opened up my sinuses and everything too. But also to clean out my receptors, right? To clean out my receptors. And we usually do this little experiment where we show a permanent marker and how water can't get rid of it. All these things can't get rid of it, but our essential oils can actually help to clean out the chemicals of our body too. The next thing I want to show you too is our bodies as we age. Yes, we do age like that. Our bodies change and they do age, our hormones change, all of that too. But one of the things that we have to fight as we age is oxidation, right? Oxidation is kind of think of it like rusting. Our body is rusting. And we can fight oxidation. We can fight inflammation. High inflammation in your body is also going to cause problems with your libido. And you might think I'm all over the place, but all of this goes back to your libido, friends. Toxins, food, stress, all of these things go back to your libido. And since 2006, I have been working with a nutritional product that I have heard so many wonderful stories from both women and men, how not only does it give them their energy back, there's now evidence that it helps to modulate inflammation, helps them with their sleep, helps them with their moods, all of these things. This product is called Ninja Red. And if you have had a great experience with Ninja Red, I want you to put that in the comments as well too. Have you noticed a difference with your energy? Now, 2 ounces of Ninja Red is good and it's a good supplement. 4 ounces is better. But if you are really having some challenges, maybe low energy, maybe libido, maybe you're going through perimenopause, maybe you've got a lot of inflammation in your body, we actually recommend the higher doses of 6 to 10 ounces of Ninja Red. Not forever, but for a period of time so your body can really fight the inflammation, so you can fight the oxidation, so you can get your body back to a good place. And many, many years ago, there was research, there was clinical studies, all of that. And they said, well, how long do I have to be on this 6+ ounces of Ninja Red? And they found that it was 6 months. Now, why is that 6 months? Well, I'll tell you, libido, your hormone health, your body's ability to be metabolically active, all right, because this is part of libido too. It's not just metabolism, but the cells themselves have a little energy center called mitochondria. And when you age, the mitochondria age too. But these higher doses of Ninja Red go in and they start to clean the body. They start to clean the liver, which is a big, big area for libido and hormones. If you do not have a clean liver, if you've heard you've had a fatty liver, you need to address it. You need to address it. And it takes 6 months for the liver to help to literally be regenerated, right? Not to be brand new liver, but to be much more functioning to the 6 to 10 ounces. Of course, you got to clean eat too. You can't just do that and do some other things. But right around 6 months is when we see big, big changes for the body and for libido. Okay. So those higher doses, and we want to do that for about 6 months. Okay, 6 months. But you're going to see lots of other great things. You're going to see your hair grow like crazy. Your nails get stronger. You're going to look at your spouse a different way. It's going to give you back that desire for your spouse. Okay. So next step, let me go back to my notes here. So energy, not metabolism, but our metabolic activity. I talked about that. I want to talk about the hormonal changes that happen through perimenopause and upon menopause, right? This is when we start to lose our estrogen, our progesterone, and even can see if we become very sedentary, we can see some changes in testosterone. Now, if you don't know, testosterone is kind of marked as the libido hormone, right? Testosterone. And a lot of times in the clinical world and medicinally, women will get testosterone to help boost their libido. In some cases, that might be necessary, right? That might be necessary. But one of the things that we can do, again, starting with the building blocks, well, what do we need to build testosterone? Well, we need vitamin D, right? We need sunlight, we need vitamin D, we super, super important. And those of you who live in the North, I know that's not as easy, right? Here, us in the South, we can get outside, we can get our vitamin D about almost all year long. And our levels tend to be better. And I came from a county in New York, Oswego County, where 25% of the snowbirds came here to Florida. In fact, literally almost right where I live, they would come here, 25% of them. And you know what? I noticed they were my patients. Many of them were my patients when I was a chiropractor up there. I noticed they lived longer. They were healthier. They didn't complain as much as their arthritis. They were seemed to be happily married. All of these things. Why is that, right? Because they could move more. They could be in the sun more. So really, really important as we transition through these years and hopefully well into your 30s, you've been starting to be active. You've been getting your sunlight. You've been making exercise and movement important things because that testosterone is directly related to that movement. And guess what kind of movement testosterone responds to? Weightlifting, friends. Okay. Resistance training. I have heard so many good stories of women, even just following YouTube lifting videos, right? Even just following many of us do on-demand videos. I see Coach Wendy is here and stuff too. She can give you a link to things like that, where we have a coach that teaches us how to lift weights correctly. And I feel so good. And not to embarrass my spouse, but I will tell you, when I started lifting weights consistently, minimum of 3, 4, 5 days a week, I was a different woman. You know where, okay? I was, I see Dolly laughing there because it's true, because not only was my testosterone going up, but I felt different. My self-image was different because I liked how I felt after a workout. And this was before I lost the 50 pounds, friends. I felt different before I lost the 50 pounds because that type of exercise really shift things for me. But movement in general is very, very important. So you find the movement that works for you. Okay. I'm not going to tell you don't have to lift weights, but you have to start where you will start. Now, Holly and I, we were together last week and we found a great video on YouTube that was Zumba. It was kind of for beginners. It had great music. It had us moving. We made a video of it and it was so much fun. And guess what? It improved our mood. It gave us happy hormones. And that's really important to think about. When anyone who's done any marriage counseling or things like that, or read a good marriage book, and there's some great books out there. We can reference our Lucy Libido book in there. There's a couple other ones. Maybe someone could put that in the comments. But when you go through that, you have to get your head in a mental space to have relations, right, with your spouse. You have to get your head in the mental space to have relations with your spouse. And how do you do that? Well, you really need to think about what's going to put me in the best mood, right? If I exercise that day, if I stay hydrated that day. They have also found that certain essential oils help the body to relax, help that stress hormone go down. And certain essential oils can even boost those special hormones that we need. Okay. And I have a whole document for you that if you want to get this, there's one I left off and I'll have to add it to. It's called Shutron, but you can text. I'm going to say this at the end too, but if you text 315, here, I'll put it in the chat, and you text hormones, we will send you this whole document of different products that we love that help support us, support our moods. Let me see where we go here. Let me put it right here. I'm going to put it to everyone, and I'll put this also in the description below too. There we go. So did that come out? Let's see. Command B. Oops. All right. It's 315-239. Let me look one more time. 4232. Okay. 4232. 4232. And if you text hormones, there you go. Okay. So yes. So I need to add black pepper. You're right. So I know everyone who's watching this, you're going to want to know, well, tell me all the essential oils. There is great books for that. We can also send those to you in a couple days. We'll send you some of the references of the books. If you are watching this from Australia or Malaysia or our, Asia market of Young Living essential oils, because this is particularly what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about anything else on the market. I only have experience with Young Living essential oils, but black ginger PMF. There's a great product now on the market in those countries, which is very, very good. That's going to support your energy, your metabolism. And Isovan, Isovan, Isovan. Now here in the United States and North America, we have a product called Femigen. And a lot of you have been asking, I have gotten this story from years and years and years, for 20 plus years, of women who they get to a certain age. It's either in perimenopause. I'm seeing it more and more in late 30s, early 40s. But my 50s, 60-year-olds are telling me it's painful to have sex. I don't want to have sex, right? It's a physical problem. And what happens is when the estrogen goes down, right, and our hormones go down, those tissues become more dry and brittle, and we lose some of that mucosal lining. Now, if that is you, obviously you want to, in fact, I might have some here. Yes. You may want to go see a pelvic specialist, right? But one of the things that I have recommended to my women friends for those delicate areas is our Young Living product called Clariderm. It's called Clariderm. Again, I've only 25 years using these products, so I can't tell you about this one on Facebook or this one marketed to you. I can only tell you what's worked for my clients. But that's really wonderful too, especially in the summertime, if you're in your swimsuit a little bit too long, or you're wearing too tight of pants and you're just a little itchy in that area. And that is such a beautiful, beautiful product. Great for men too, great for different skin itchies, things like that. But it's a very, very good product to help. Some people use it prior to and then before. My hormone doctor has recommended to me let's get our hormones right so that can change. So one of the products that I was privileged to use was that Isovan. And that really helped me when I was struggling with that irritation, that just uncomfortableness while having sex. So the Isovan, really like Femigen. Femigen seems to really help me through this season too. And I've heard many, many women who have loved that product too. But for my younger crowd too, and even for those maybe in your 40s or 50s, I have women even in their 60s using this product. A lot of women love Progessence Plus. Progessence Plus. Now, each of us is very different. So I can't make one recommendation for Dolly and one for and say that it's going to work for everyone. You really have to figure out what is right for you. So I really like this product. I think more women need to start on it at an early age. It's called Progesins Plus. I cannot tell you how many stories of post-pregnancy, prior to pregnancy, how it helps women sleep, how it helps improve their mood, how it helps put them in the mood. It's very, very good. Now, it's not an essential oil I rub down. It's something I simply just put 1 to 2 drops, and literally you have to figure out what your levels are, right? Your levels are. Now, one of you asked me too about had asked me about I'm in menopause, but I feel like I'm still cycling. And that is true, right? That is true too. So there's great books that you can dig into. Dr. Leanne Deardruff has a was it called Taming the Dragon? And again, we'll send those to you if you want to text us. We'll get those to you in a couple of days, those book resources. Dr. Leanne Deardruff has some great resources where you can literally, she lays out, okay, here's your cycles. And even though you might be post-menopause, you might, you know what, I'm gonna try to use these according and see how they make me feel, right? So she'll say, okay, use this product during these days and this product during these days. So it's very, very good as well. But I think one of the big fallacies that we see in this postmenopausal is that I don't need hormones anymore. Like, I'm good, I'm through menopause, I don't need hormones. And I think that's a real mistake. I think that, you know, if we go back a couple of centuries, we didn't live. We didn't live through our 60s, right? We didn't live 60, 70, like 50 would be a great grandmother sometimes, right? But now we're living longer, but are we living better, right? So we have to do as much as we can to maintain our hormones, our bone health, you know, all of the things. And what happens, I didn't address this, but I want to talk about vaginal prolapse. You have to be aware that as the tissues, right, start to have issues, and my women friends who are overweight, even 20, 25, 50, when you're overweight, you're literally pushing, right? You're pushing that uterus. And a lot of times excess poop in there, all that can push the uterus down and it can become very, very uncomfortable. So I'm going to share one thing about libido that you're probably not going to hear, and about sex. You probably won't hear very often. If you lived in South America, this would be very common. So if you still have a uterus, okay, the uterus kind of sits on these ligaments, right? Kind of like a jolly jumper, right? So we walk, we do all these things, but probably early on in your life, you've fallen, right? You had a big fall. Maybe you had a car accident. Maybe you had a trauma. And what can happen, or maybe you've been constipated for years. What can happen is the uterus can fall forward. Excuse me. Guess what it sits on? The bladder. Mhm. Can fall back. Guess what it sits on? The colon. So when the uterus, now it's not there, it doesn't have to be there permanently. Oh, I'm losing my voice. Sorry about this. It doesn't have to be there permanently, but what happens is when it falls forward, it smushes on the bladder. How many women do you know have bladder issues? Feel like they gotta pee every, few minutes. I'm one of them, right? Or has bladder infections over and over and over. A lot of times that's because the uterus has fallen forward. Or have you ever been to your OBGYN and it's like, oh, your uterus is crooked, right? I have a video, and I will again send this out for those of you who text that number. We'll send it probably later this week, a video that I did that teaches you how to lift up the uterus. It's all external, but if we lived in Latin America, our moms would teach us that, hey, you need to take care of your uterus. And I'll tell you, I'm just rubbing my lower belly right now, and I can feel it. It just kind of pumps back in. Some of you who've been a client of mine or been on my table for raindrops and stuff, I'll go and feel your belly, and I'm like, your uterus is down or back or forward. Now, what about those of you who don't have a uterus? You can still end up with some scar tissue in there. So it's still important to really honor this belly, this lower abdomen from, the pubic bone to the navel, and make sure that we're massaging that we're using some of our good essential oils in this area. Really, really important as well, too. Okay. And to get regular, checkups. Are we good? And not all OBGYNs, are knowledgeable about these things, but there's this new kind of, it's newer. I know it's in the Crestview area. I know it's here where I live in the Florida area, but it's these pelvic health usually physical therapists or possibly some doctors too, but physical therapists that really can help with pelvic organ prolapse, like the vagina when it comes down, can really help you get in a place where physically you will feel better to have relations, right? To have intimacy. And again, that's all related to libido because gosh, if it's been painful and you feel like your vagina's falling out, like how can we do that? And there's not going to be essential oils that are going to cure that, friends, for all those who love essential oils, but definitely things that can help support that as well. All right, so I'm going to pass that on to you as well. All right, next. So we talked about energy metabolism. We talked about toxins and getting the toxins out of your environment. And this doesn't mean, friends, going to Target or Walmart and buying the clean products like the Myers or the things like that. Those are better, but they're really not the highest that you could have. And I really truly love my line of products that we have with Young Living. They're all clean, very, very good. Our Thieves product line. So you're getting both essential oils benefits as well as the cleaning products as well too. We talked a little bit about stress, and I didn't address sleep, but if sleep is an issue for you, we can get you more information about that as well. We talked about dealing with stress, with exercise, making our life and our lifestyle so that it's not 24/7, that it actually has time for me, for my self-care, and not feeling guilty of it. I bet you, if I asked you to raise your hand, how many of you feel guilty when you want to read a book for a few hours, or you are not working, right? Or you're not doing some of those things, is that we have to release some of that to as well. To deal with stress, as well, we talked about essential oils, and we can give you a line of essential oils that are helpful in lowering the stress hormone. We talked about hormones. And I can't emphasize enough how important good, clean water is. I could go into a whole program about water and what we're finding in water in terms of hormones that shouldn't be there, chemicals that shouldn't be there. So really, really important to get a good water filtration system if you can, to make sure that that's not adding to your issue there. We talked about self-image and how exercise and is so helpful. We talked about the physical issues of having a prolapsed vagina, but also too after cancer. I have had many women who've had their uterus taken out because of fibroids. Let me just go back through here. Because cypress essential oil on the inner thighs. Yeah, very good. Okay. Everyone read the comments there. It's very good. Yes. So talking about the physicalness, someone asked, is a reversed uterus sound good? Like your uterus is reversed, it's back. I don't think they mean like this. I've never heard of that. In a few cases, yes, but usually if your organs are switched or something, usually have more organs like that too. So one of the techniques is called Arvigo massage, and that's what I talk about in my video about lifting the uterus and getting it back into position. And I've had many friends get pregnant with that, have much better intimate relations with that. That's very, very good. Ruth Jenkins, yep, from the Crestview area in Women's Health. Okay, so Dolly, we really need to implement probably the Femigen at the higher doses will make a difference for you as well too. Our Vigo. Okay, so I have taken a lot of your time here. I want to go back. Let's start with the vaginal dryness because we got a lot of questions about that too. You have to work with your a good doctor, and I can give you the recommendation of Dr. Sherry Vinsek, who I work with. She does test hormones. In most all states, she can help you and then give you recommendations. But for those of you who don't have the budget, maybe you don't have, the $500 plus to get all that testing done, you can test yourself. So when we are having issues with sleep, we have to maybe it's night sweats, we have to look at, okay, our sleep schedule and stuff, and I do have a good training on that too we can talk about. But back to the vaginal dryness, dialing those in, trying the Femigen, trying the Clariderm, trying to get yourself in a place. And I'm talking to my 60 plus year olds too, okay, 70, 80, like that. This is not how you're supposed to live, and there are solutions for you, but it may not be overnight, right? It may not be overnight. For me, what made a huge difference in my hot flashes and my sleep cycle, all of those things, was eating, particularly in a program called Rev Up, right? Rev Up is a lifestyle program, and it teaches you about movement. It teaches you about water. It teaches you a eating program that is really phenomenal for our 50 plus year olds, because most of us are having too many carbohydrates. And I'll tell you, when I go off too much off plan, I can go eat off plan, but when I go too much off plan and I get in the carbs or I have sugar for a couple of days, guess what comes back? The night sweats, right? The little thermal things that I get in the middle of the day. And it's just crazy. When you're over 50, we are not supposed to be having 50% carbs in our diet. We're more like supposed to be having 30, 33%, maybe 40 at the most. So I know Coach Wendy can talk a lot about that too, but I want to invite you, friends. Number one, if you have found any of this information helpful to you, I want you to explore more into the products that Young Living has that can help support, put you back into balance, to bring you into a place. And we want to share those. We want to share resources with you. So I want you to go and make sure you text. Let me get back to the number here. Text 315-239-4232 and message hormones, okay? And you will get a little link to a Google Doc that we have there, and it'll give you just some more information about that, right? Some more information about that. And there'll be a lot of information there, and you might feel overwhelmed. But let's just kind of bring it down, right? We talked about dryness. The first thing you can do for dryness is probably invest in Clariderm, and that will really help you. We talked about hot flashes. Two great products that I love to help bring me back into balance is the Femigen and Endoflex. Endoflex is an essential oil, right? And I use that over the thyroid, and I use it over our adrenal glands. Now, why do I use it over adrenal glands, which is in your back, kind of where your kidneys are, on top of your kidneys? If you just kind of lay your hands on the back of your ribs here, you can kind of find them. I use that because once your ovaries Once your ovaries are gone or they stop making estrogen, the only thing that makes estrogen is your adrenal glands. So you see why, as a over 50 or postmenopausal woman, why you need to deal with your stress, why you need to make time for you. Like really think about that. If you're over 50 and your ovaries aren't making estrogen, the only estrogen you're going to get is from your adrenal glands. So if you're stressed because the adrenal glands are producing all this cortisol for you, right? They're not going to have the hormones to give you the estrogen that you need. So, all right. And then in the bedroom, one of some great books, Lucy Libido. So many people, Coach Wendy recommended the Cypress. Coach Wendy's been married a lot of years. She should know. She has many children. Love her and her husband. Cypress essential oil on the inner thighs, a great essential oil. There's great Shutron is just a favorite too. So for our men, we'll just kind of end with that. We'll end with two things. For our men, number one thing we can do for men and women, if you had to start somewhere, Ninja Red would be your first start, starting that 6 to 10 ounces, right? Because it's going to affect so many things that are going to help your hormones, both men and women, both men and women. The second thing that I would do is look further into what essential oils can support my sweetie and me, right? My husband and I love Shutron. We diffuse it. So when Shutron is being diffused, my brain goes, okay, this time is intimacy time, or this is date night time, right? So my brain and my body is getting relaxed. It's thinking about my spouse, like having a special essential oil. And that essential oil is very phenomenal for boosting the libido as well. It's costly, but it's the best perfume or cologne that you will buy. Okay, so Ninja Red and essential oils. And then finally, we have lots of couples in a program we offer called the Rev Up Weight Loss Lifestyle Program. And this program, we run it every single month. Tomorrow we're hosting a like an intro about the Rev Up program. But the Rev Up program, the foundation of it is our Ninja Red. Right. So that's the foundation. Then we have an eating program. We actually have lots of couples. In fact, my husband lost 50 pounds modifying the Rev Up program to make it comfortable for him, but he still lost 50 pounds. I lost 50 pounds in our marriage, our intimacy, my libido. His libido is so much more improved because we changed the way we ate, which changed so much of our health. Tomorrow, actually, my husband just did a video. If you want to go to my Facebook page, Mary Star Carter, he did a video, or we'll send it out maybe in the hormone. He did a video about the microbiome and how it affects our mood and so many other things in our body too, which is your gut. So it's really good as well for that. So those of you who are just like, okay, one thing that I could get started with, start with the Ninja Red. Next, the second thing that you could get started with would be your Ninja Red and maybe 1 or 2 essential oils. Highly recommend the Shutron, not always available. So if you can get it, make sure you get it. Get 2 bottles maybe. Cypress oil, we heard there, or invest in the Lucy Libido book. There's some good resources too that you can look and say, okay, well, this is the problem we're having, so let's support this area. And the third thing is go all in with us. Start with the Ninja Red, start using your essential oils, get the toxins out of your health, friends. Join our Rev Up Lifestyle program. You and your hubby get started. You will not regret changing your health, changing the way you eat, changing all of these things, because 6 months from now, when you've lost the 50 pounds or 30 pounds or 20 pounds, whatever, 6 months from now, a year from now, you won't recognize yourself. You won't recognize your life in that intimate areas as well. All right. I love you. Thank you so much for today. I'm going to stop the recording. Again, make sure that you text, let's see, text 315-239-4232. Make sure you text hormones to that number as well. Thank you so much. And I forgot to record, didn't I? No, I didn't. There it is. Okay.
It's recording.
Okay.